All right, we've got him. Let's bring in right now Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. Senator, you're worth the wait, and thank you for joining us, sir. Before the commercial break, we were playing air traffic controllers outside of Reagan National who were talking about the difficulties this is presenting in their lives. They're handing out leaflets to people to try to explain how their livelihoods, particularly when traveling. You, sir, hear firsthand the stress these folks are facing, and you're pushing a bill which helps shield federal workers from the fallout, and that includes halting the evictions, also the impact to their credit. Are you confident the Senate will provide these workers that relief?
I hope they will. I mean, we've got a bill that would provide, as you mentioned, no evictions, additional support. We've also got a bill in place to try to provide contractors, federal contractors, because they are clearly on the short end of the stick. The best thing we could do, though, Alex, is get the president in the room and work this out. We can avoid the health care cliff that's going to come at the end of the month as people start to sign up and realize their rates are more than doubling, and get the government back open. The one thing that has been clear to me, and I say this reluctantly, as somebody who's been part of every bipartisan gang that's been around, there's not going to be a bipartisan gang right now because no Republican senator is going to act on his own without sign off by Donald Trump. So these one-off conversations aren't going to lead anywhere. Donald Trump has to get in the room with the Democrats. We can work this out. It shouldn't take more than a few hours, candidly. And his refusal to do so, and as opposed simply firing people or threatening additional firing, I think the federal workforce is rightfully angry, pissed off, and wants us to push back.
Is there an argument you think that Democrats can make to encourage or talk some sense into the president and say, we've got to talk, this cannot go on ad nauseum?
Yeah. Well, remember, the president of the United States, Mr. Trump, only met with the Democrats one time in the first 8 or 9 months of his second term. We would meet a lot of times with President Trump in his first term. I didn't agree with President Trump on many things in his first term, but he had good, solid people around him, and we engaged with currently, for example, the OMB director, this guy Russ Vought, who Trump himself calls the Grim Reaper, who takes joy in traumatizing federal workers. I mean, nobody's going to trust him. Matter of fact, even our Republican friends like Susan Collins said what he's doing is, frankly, illegal. So this got to get resolved. I don't think the Republican leadership, the Speaker, who is, answers beck and call to the president. I think John Thune, who I've worked with well, the Republican Majority Leader, I just don't think he's calling the shots on this. It's going to be Donald Trump at the end of the day. And the sooner we get in the room, even if there's not resolution, the president could show he's actually engaged. He's done, I think, good work in the Middle East. Show he wants to do this good work and prevent this crisis in America.
Well, unless and until that happens, Senate Republicans are certainly trying to ramp up the pressure on Democrats. They're denying your party any opportunity to vote on your own government funding proposals. And you have both Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune. They're not mincing words how they feel Democrats are the ones to blame for not just the impasse, but the hardships that Americans are facing in the fallout. Let's listen to this, sir.
Both Virginia senators, Tim Kaine and Mark Warner, are playing political games with the paychecks of 119,000 service members.
I guess Democrats are not going to be satisfied until military families and government workers are lining up at food banks or visiting payday lenders or simply charging necessary items like milk and bread on their credit cards.
And with all this back and forth, Senator, is anyone actually talking with one another?
A lot of my Republican friends want to get this done. But as I've said, they don't have the ability to strike a deal because they've got to get it cleared by the White House. And the irony of, I guess, the Speaker making those comments, I was with a ton of federal workers yesterday where the congressional delegation from Maryland and Virginia came together with pissed off, angry federal workers who clearly lay the blame at the footsteps of the Republican Speaker, Mike Johnson, Donald Trump, and the Grim Reaper himself, Russ Vought. I don't think the Speaker, who, by the way, has kept his caucus on a 3-week vacation, he's got a lot of gall, because I can't imagine him talking to any federal worker over these last 3 weeks. I have on a regular basis.
Do you agree with the Speaker, who said this could be the longest shutdown in U.S. history?
I think the Speaker is trying to be a mini Trump here and frighten people and try to act tough. And what he's acting tough with are the lives of hundreds of thousands of federal workers and contractors in my state, who are my constituents, and also think about the small businesses, the restaurants that serve that federal workforce. They've got lost business here. If you got any kind of if you got any caring for your fellow Americans, and there are plenty of Louisianans who are hitting this battle as well, let's come to the table and cut a deal. That is not an unresponsive request to the President of the United States. Show the same determination you showed Donald Trump on getting a deal in the Middle East here at home, avoid the healthcare crisis, get the government back open.
Let's hope your colleagues on the other side of the aisle and the president, frankly, are listening. Senator Mark Warner, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Alex.